Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Deep Impact Podcast. I am your host, Bo Walker, and I'm joined by Jason Cephas, James Piazza, and Mr. Mark Carson.
Hello.
Why does he get the mister?
But before we get started, as you guys can tell, this is going to be our college football playoff episode. We're going to be talking about all things college football, but before we get into that, want to welcome everybody back. Hope you guys all had a great Christmas. Hope you guys enjoyed time with your family, all that fun stuff. Enjoyed the season. And before we get started, Mark, what are you drinking?
No more Advent beers. We're going with some little Bud lattes.
Oh, I got a nice little.
Oh, wait. Here, Bo, you need to turn your camera off. I'm going to turn mine off. Jason, turn yours on. And then James and Jason need to drink together.
Cheers, boy.
Go, James.
Oh, wait,
Here it is.
Let's go.
The giant waters. Who can chug the most?
James.
I would try,
No, that's
but
about the same.
They are now.
I would try, but I drown.
They are now called the Jug Boys.
Jug boys.
It's the Jyland boys. Jug Island.
Y'all's got
Oh
some big
no,
jugs
I don't
over
like
there.
that.
All
Hey,
right,
how was
it.
your Christmas, Bo? Did you have fun?
Yeah. All right.
10 out of 10 acting.
No, we're recording this before Christmas. We're recording this before the.
You're
college
the worst actor. I was gonna make up some crazy story about Christmas, and you're just all like,
Way to shatter the grand illusion.
Yeah, I'm breaking the fourth wall. Now we're recording this before Christmas, before the college football playoff. We're recording it so we can spend time with our families, around the holiday season. Blah 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 blah. Truth be told, if you guys will listen to the last episode, our Christmas episode, and the part 2 episode of the OV Unknown, we recorded them in the same night. We just did costume changes.
yeah, we did.
Well,
I
okay.
didn't.
I was gonna say Mark and Bo did. I didn't. So, and if we're a little like lethargic a little bit, that's why.
This is our 3rd episode of the night.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but I am in a very uncomfortable wooden chair right now.
Oh, I'm nice and comfy.
And
Nice and comfy. I got my Crocs. No, I got my Hey Dudes on. Nice and comfy.
Do you really have both Crocs and Hey Dudes?
I can't lift my leg up that high. I got Hey Dudes.
No. Okay. I believe you.
Apologize to the people for not picking my cookies. Okay. So I would like to issue.
Hold on. For those of you that don't know, Bo kind of got put in the doghouse.
Yeah.
Because none of Bo's picks were his wife's cookies. He picked his mom's cookie. He picked a couple other random cookies. And then Bo picked a cookie that he's never had before. And
No, I have had it before. I have had it before.
Guys to tell you some sob story about an elderly woman that attended a church Bo's never been to.
Shit.
It's just lies. Bo didn't pick his wife's cookies, and Bo's wife works very hard to make Bo's life.
She does. She makes
Shut
my
the
life
fuck
so,
up, Bo.
Do they taste good?
My wife makes my life so easy. She is a great cook. She's a great baker. She just made a beautiful dinner. We had pork chops. We had truffle risotto.
Yeah, but fuck her cookies, right?
Yeah, I will go
right
downstairs and I will eat a couple of her cookies. They are delicious.
I bet you won't eat her cookies right now because she's gonna say you didn't pick my cookies.
Hey,
my cookies.
Bring me a cookie, one of yours.
Don't bring in shit.
She said no. I'm trying to redeem myself, and I'm getting cock blocked.
There ain't no redemption, Bo. You fucked up. Walk downstairs and apologize. Kiss your square.
We're in the middle of an episode. I'm not leaving the episode. Plus, I don't want a cookie right now.
Sounds like you're sleeping on the couch for a little bit longer, pal.
Fine by me.
Oh, it's not fun.
Listen. Our bed is very uncomfortable. Okay, the couch might do me wonders. All right. Anyhow.
So football.
Yes. So as we are recording this episode, we're recording it, breaking the fourth wall again on December 8th, 2022.
breaking the fourth
football
wall.
awards are going on as we're recording, but we have college football bowl games coming up, and then we have the college football playoffs. Okay, so before we get into the bowl games, we have the annual Army-Navy game. It's a tradition. It's a great game. Okay, that's
The
being
best
played on-
rivalries.
one of the best rivalries. That is the only
Hey,
college football game being played on Saturday. All right, Army-Navy this week, this Saturday. Starting on December 11th, we have bowl games. If my phone will work. Okay, not December 11th. Starting on the 16th, some of these bowl games are ridiculous. All right. Not going to get into that. We got Cincinnati and Louisville in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl.
dude, I need you to name all of the bowls.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Bowl names, I don't give a fuck who's playing, but the bowl names are my favorite.
Okay, here we go. The Hometown Lenders Bahama Bowl. The Duluth Trading Cure Bowl. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl. SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl.
Oh, I need to know who's in that one.
Hold
I'm
on.
excited.
This one might be my absolute favorite. Okay.
All right, let's go.
The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by Stifle.
Oh fuck yeah! Who's playing in that one? I'm pumped. I'm pumped for the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
That's Washington State and Fresno State.
Oh hell yeah!
Lending Tree Bowl, New Mexico Bowl, which neither of the two teams are from New Mexico.
Yeah, because it's played in New Mexico.
Yeah, it's Sam Houston State and BYU.
Where's Sam Houston State from?
Texas.
Oh, well, they kind of make.
Or
sense.
no, it's not Sam Houston, Southern Methodist University. Sorry, SMU. I'm an idiot.
Sam Houston. Where's the fucking M in Sam Houston?
I don't know. Well, I'm
State?
seeing SMU, and I was thinking Sam Houston. Okay, anyhow, Frisco Bowl.
Again, where's the M in Sam Houston? Other than
M,
after
Sam.
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 Oh.
Spell.
Okay. No,
Okay.
still dumb.
Hey, we're still not allowed to say that letter because there's a possibility that we might play that team again.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Slim, but there is.
Houston State.
We have Marshall and Yukon playing in the Myrtle Beach Bowl,
Here we go.
the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, the the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl.
He's
Whoa,
playing in the
that-
Lane.
Toledo actually is playing in that game.
Hot dog.
R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl.
Oh, for real? R&L Carriers? Yeah, I run with them. Who's playing
Yeah.
in the R&L Carriers Bowl?
Western Kentucky and South Alabama.
You know what? I can name you one person who went to one of those schools.
Okay. We have the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl.
Are Army or Navy playing in that bowl game?
Air Force. Close.
Oh, well, okay, that was the third one I missed.
Yeah. Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl.
Sounds dope.
Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl.
Yeah, Sparilla.
Easy Post Hawaii.
Kind of like sarsaparilla, except you get more mileage with the gas.
Oh, you're something else.
Quick Lane Bowl. Now, I have one on here that is my favorite, and I have to tell you that as well. The Camellia Bowl. Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl. Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Military Bowl presented.
And I didn't eat my wife's cookies bowl.
AutoZone Liberty Bowl. You're beating a dead horse here, Mark. San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. The Tax Act Texas Bowl. Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. The Cheez-It Bowl. The Valero Alamo Bowl. Duke's Mayo Bowl. By the way, Duke's is the best mayo. Any other people can fight me. The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, which is actually going to be a very good game. It's not Notre Dame and South Carolina.
Yeah, that actually will be a good one.
I love how the Tony the Tiger Bowl isn't even the Frosted Flakes or the Kellogg's Bowl. It's the Tony the Tiger Bowl.
This next game, all of these other games can be watched on, CBS, ESPN, ABC, Fox, all the major networks, Fox Sports 1. This next game can only be watched on an online streaming service. And the game is Ohio and Wyoming. And it is the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. and you can only watch that game on Barstool Sports.
That sucks. I would love to watch OU in a bowl game.
OU is actually favored by 1 point.
Yeah.
Then we get into the good bowl games. We have the Capital One Orange Bowl on the 30th. We have number 6 Tennessee going up against number 7 Clemson. It's very apropos that it is the Orange Bowl. And then we have on New Year's Eve. I'm very pissed off that I'm going to be at a wedding on New Year's Eve.
Who gets married on New Year's?
Yeah, people that we know. We have Alabama and Kansas State in the All-State Sugar Bowl. We have Iowa and Kentucky.
That could be a good game.
Yeah.
Iowa and Kentucky in the Trans Perfect Music City Bowl. At 4:00, we have college football semifinal in the VRBO Fiesta Bowl. Number 3 TCU and number 2 Michigan. Michigan is only favored by 7.5 points. It might be a closer game than what we're thinking. And then at 8 p.m. in the middle of a wedding, number 4 Ohio State against number 1 Georgia.
I'm so mad that they win just because you miss it.
Oh, I'm watching it on my phone. I have already told Maddie I'm watching this game.
Ohio State is no. I told you what you need to do.
I know what we need to do, but
you need to plan. But Ohio State is gonna get stomped.
Yeah, probably.
Now here's the thing.
Hold up. Wait. Hold up. Literally, as the rankings were coming out, Mark literally said it's going to be closer than people think.
I mean, it is only 6.5 points.
Well, yeah, but people think Ohio State's going to lose by like 56. I think Ohio State's going to lose by like 40. So they're getting stomped.
Okay, hold on. Let me finish out the bowl game names, and then we can continue this. ReliaQuest Bowl, Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, which is Tulane and USC.
Tulane.
Cheez-It has 2 bowls.
Yeah.
The Cheez-It Bowl.
I'm feeling the cheesiest, coach.
LSU and Purdue in the Citrus Bowl, and then the Rose Bowl is Penn State and Utah, and then the College Football National Championship is coming out on the 9th.
Utah's my new favorite team.
Yeah, yes.
Penn State, Utah. That should actually be a good one.
Utah's only favored by 3.
The only 2 teams that Penn State's lost to were undefeated until they played each other.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, the Tulane USC game, USC is only 1.5 point favorites.
Probably because
that's kind of crazy.
He's excited.
Yes,
all of these games all of us in Ohio are gonna legally be able to bet on January 2nd because FanDuel and DraftKings, yes, sports betting.
Oh, we can't bet on all of them. We can bet on the one after January 1st.
That's what I said. On January 2nd.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. Yep. Might have to put a couple wagers on those, but okay. Let's go.
Ohio State. I did say Ohio State's getting stomped, and I did tell Jason that it was going to be close. I don't know. I'm literally like 50% of me is like Ohio State's going to shock somebody, and then the other 50% of me is going to be like they're losing by 50.
Okay, so let's break it down first. Let's go. Let's save Ohio State for last. Let's break down TCU and Michigan first.
I feel like Michigan's quarterback is undefeated since he's started. Michigan's quarterback is going to continue to be undefeated since he's started. Michigan beats TCU. They're going to meet Georgia in the national championship, and then they're going to lose a last-second field goal in overtime. Heard here first, folks.
I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than.
I did have a hot take a long time ago about AJ Dillon have more rushing yards than Aaron Jones.
But yeah,
has nothing to do with college football. But
I think that if TCU's quarterback can play the way that he has the very end of this season, TCU has
talking about the game that they just played.
Yes, where he was battered, bloodied, and then he
played like shit. The last game.
No, he didn't play like shit. He had 2 interceptions, but they were also playing against a very good K-State team.
K-State's one of those teams that matches up horribly against, or matches up very, very well against TCU too.
Yes.
Like they're the only team that gave TCU kind of like a run for their money in
Well,
the
they did. I
regular
mean,
season, and then
K-State beat them.
and K-State should have beat them, but they didn't. They came back. They had an incredible comeback and ended up securing it. And then of course they meet in the Big 12 championship, and then they lost to them. I think TCU's a much better team than people give them credit for. It just
Absolutely.
K-State's a horrible matchup.
Yeah,
I do too.
My
I mean,
my thing with that is TCU's quarterback Max Duggan. Is he going to be 100% ready to go for this game, because he took an absolute beating in that last game.
I mean,
Like,
he's got the better part of a month left.
well, true, but still, I mean, some of those. I mean, we've seen it with Ohio State. Some there's some injuries that can linger.
Yeah.
For a lot more than just a month. So,
I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
uh-huh.
But I mean, if you're looking at TCU's schedule, I mean, they played like legit teams. Not Sam Houston State, SMU. They beat Oklahoma. They beat Kansas. They beat Oklahoma State. They beat Kansas State. They beat WVU, Texas Tech, Texas, Baylor, Iowa State. I mean, they beat legit teams this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, TCU's always been one of those schools that, I mean, they're always there. Like they're always like they've been in the conversation.
They compete.
Yes, they compete. They're in the conversation.
And I think the one thing that's kind of slowed them down in years past is now they have a stud on their team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the one thing that kept holding them back in years past, because like you just said, they're always kind of around in the mix, but they never were able to break through because they never really had that breakthrough player like Max Duggan is. Because isn't he up for the Heisman?
Yep.
Yeah. So there you go.
I mean now if you look at now compare the teams that they beat, most of the teams, Big 12 SEC teams, whatever, that are going to be SEC teams. You look at Michigan's, they played the three of the weakest teams in college football for their out of conference games. And then they played Maryland. They struggled against Maryland in the beginning. They struggled against Iowa. They beat Indiana, beat Penn State, beat Michigan State, struggled against Rutgers in the first half, beat Nebraska, which not saying much there. Illinois barely squeaked that out at the very end, and then they beat an Ohio State team who, I'm not making excuses, Ohio State got their asses handed to them.
Oh yeah,
they were injured. They had a lot of people out with injuries.
Yeah,
I mean, you're missing arguably the best wide receiver on that team in Jackson Smith.
They did, but the way that Michigan's offense was able to just be dominant the entire second, third, and fourth quarter of that game, and just do whatever they wanted. Like their game plan was to put all the pressure on Michigan's quarterback, and he delivered in every way without missing a beat after maybe the first drive that they started doing that to him.
And go ahead.
That was out there starting running back.
Yeah.
They put all the pressure on him.
Yeah. And I said it after the game, during the game, whatever. Everything that I have complained about and critiqued about this Ohio State team is what killed them in the end. The dumb penalties, the defense not being as, I don't want to say locked down, but I mean the secondary getting picked apart like that. I mean that can't happen. And the offense just being spotty at best. And I know we talked about the injuries and Mine Williams, Travion Henderson, Smith-Njigba, all those guys, banged up. Obviously, that plays a role into it, but it's stuff that could have been fixed over the course of the year, but it never was. And that's why I was kind of not irritated that they made the playoffs, because obviously, I'm an Ohio State fan. Obviously, I'm going to cheer for them, but I just think there was another team that was more deserving. Like, just not that Ohio State didn't, but like I said, it was just the stuff week after week that just kept building and building and building, and all the build towards Michigan, and you lay an egg like that, like
especially in the second half. Didn't they score 3 points in the second half?
Yeah,
like
and like CJ Stroud looked like he didn't even belong in Heisman talk.
Yeah,
and that's like, and there were a couple times, especially later on in the season when we're watching the game and CJ Stroud struggling, we're all kind of sitting there like, wow, okay, like what's going on here? Like something is not right.
yeah. I mean, he started the season out like a bat out of hell, and then slowly fizzled, towards the end of the season.
Yeah. So like I said, you can put injuries in it all you want, but the guys that stepped up, especially at wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. had an incredible year. Egbuka, like those guys stood up, and Stroud just didn't really give them the ball against Michigan.
No.
Like, you can say, oh well, Michigan had them covered. Still, if you're a Heisman candidate quarterback, you should be able to make those completions and not have them go 20 feet over their head and not give them a chance.
Yeah.
Like, that was the big thing with me, is like he would just have these throws where he wasn't even close to his target, like, and you're just kind of like, whoa, ooh, like, so I don't know. I like I said, I'm obviously going to root for them. I obviously hope they win, and I hope they win it all. But I just don't see that happening, and especially after the stuff that has been an issue all year was never addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does scare me that they're going to get embarrassed again. I mean, I'm almost completely in agreement with you, Jason, except the fact that, like, I don't know that there's also like a clear-cut team that deserves a chance that didn't make it.
That's fair.
Other than them.
Yeah.
Besides, honestly, the only possibility that I could see in the entire college football is Penn State. And again, I say that just because Penn State only had 2 losses, and they were to 2 undefeated teams. One of them was to Michigan, and one was to Ohio State. Other than that, they ran the table. And especially if they go out there and beat Utah, I feel like they're the only team that could. I feel like Alabama having 2 teams that have 2 losses, whether they're to good opponents or not, like, again, USC losing. Who was I going to say? Alabama, Tennessee, like all those teams, I feel like you got 2 chances and you blew them both. Yeah. So a 1-loss team, I feel like, is going to be better, which is why when TCU lost, they didn't move down at all. I feel like TCU and Ohio State are kind of in that category, except that Ohio State didn't get a chance to lose another game in the championship.
Yeah.
I would even go. I mean, I agree with your Penn State, but I would even say Utah. Maybe even I would put Utah.
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah, but doesn't Utah have 3 losses though?
They do, but they were, I don't want to say good losses. Their first game,
not the Florida game.
No, they lost to Florida on a last second field goal, which Florida's shitty now, And they lost to a good UCLA team, and they lost to a good Oregon team, but they did come back and they did win the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did give USC both of their losses. That was the only team that USC lost to twice this season.
Yeah, and I did see that on Twitter that Utah deserved a shout at least.
Yeah, and I mean Utah even jumped USC, and USC was ranked 5th.
What do you think the difference is between Utah and Kansas State then?
Strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the schedule.
do you think the Pac-12's better or worse than the or the Pac-12's better than the Big 12?
I do. I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because you got to think the Big 12. You're gonna. Well, I know it's coming up, but you're losing Oklahoma and you're losing Texas. You're losing two of your big hitters there. I mean,
Yeah.
other than that, you've got Baylor and you've got K State and TCU. That's about it.
Yeah.
But then with the who are we just talking about, the Pac-12? I mean, you've got Oregon, you've got Utah, USC, UCLA.
I don't think UCLA's what's UCLA's record?
UCLA finished. Hold on, I just had it. Shit. UCLA finished the 9-3.
Oh, okay, that's better than I thought.
Yeah, I mean they didn't
I
have.
was thinking they were like a 5-loss team or something like that.
No, they didn't have a bowl game. They only lost to USC by 3.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that game was insane. If you
That
stayed
was
up,
a great
if you
game.
stayed up to watch that, that was one of the greatest college football games ever. Like,
It
that was one of the
I mean,
best football games, period. I mean, it was
48, 45, last second
back
field
and
goal.
forth, and like it
Very
was
high
like the
scoring.
quarterbacks just going at like it was one of those like what you could do, I could do better type of games. Like they
I
just
mean, both
kept
of them
getting
had,
better.
they both had outstanding quarterbacks. It was great. It was a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, you could technically even argue. I was gonna say you could argue Tennessee, but I mean, their one loss to Georgia, but then they got their shit kicked in by South Carolina. I don't know if you could include that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited for that Orange Bowl. I think the Orange Bowl will be good. The
Yeah.
only thing is Tennessee doesn't have Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, I know. That really sucks. Because
Now,
like I
I
mean,
do.
I said it on here before, like he was my Heisman pick, like through and
Is he,
through.
is he still in it in the running?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
It's who? C.J. Stroud, Stetson Bennett, the guy from TCU, and
Was it Corum?
No, I didn't think it was Blake Corum. It was all quarterbacks. Was it the guy from USC?
Caleb Williams?
Was it Caleb Williams?
It might have been.
Let me look this up real quick. Let me get on the old Twitter machine. Heisman. We have Stetson Bennett, Max Duggan, CJ Stroud, and Caleb Williams.
Okay. See, I mean, again, I'm kind of leaning towards Williams.
I am too. I mean,
either him or Duggan.
Yeah,
because you look at, again, I don't necessarily look at stats and just at stats alone. I look at what they've done for the program as a whole, and that's why I was so high on Hendon Hooker throughout the year, because he brought that program back, and so did Caleb Williams. I mean, when's the last time USC was ranked as high?
Yeah, I mean, going off two stats alone for Caleb Williams, he had almost 4,100 passing yards and 37 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions.
Yeah, like him, for me, it's between him or
Duggan?
Yeah, it's between him or Max Duggan.
Well, and
Drake Maye finished 10th in the Heisman voting. I'm watching it live right now.
What'd you say it was?
Drake Maye, quarterback from North Carolina, finished 10th.
Okay. Well, and then I mean, you got Max Duggan. Just those two stats, he only had 3,321 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Sorry.
Yeah.
And CJ Stroud, 3,340 yards, 37 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and who was the other one? No, Stetson freaking Bennett. 3,425 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. He shouldn't even be in there with only 20 touchdowns. He's only in there because he's the number 1
quarterback.
Yes, because Georgia's the number 1 team. That's the only reason.
I mean, he's a good quarterback. Like, and he's got a good story and all that. Like, I
mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Is this the last year of the college football the way it is before expansion? Is it going?
Yeah, I think 2020 or wait, no. Is it 23 or 24?
I think
So
24.
I think it's
Okay.
24.
But
So we'll have,
isn't this technically the 2023 playoffs?
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. They have that year break.
So
Well, it will be because the playoff is in
2023.
yeah, the championship game is in 2023.
So I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the last year of the 4-team format. Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should have never have been 4 teams in the first place.
No.
I don't
4
think
was better than 2.
12
But
was the right number
Yeah.
though.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think what they did is gonna be just fine. Like, I think it's the right amount of teams. You're not oversaturating it at all. Like, I mean, think of March Madness, but college football. Obviously, it's not as big, but I mean, it's gonna be incredible. Like,
No, it won't be this coming season. It'll be next season. 12-team playoff will be beginning in 2024-25.
okay,
oh, okay, so it is. So there's one more season.
okay,
Yes. I mean, but look at it this way. Right now, if you're looking at the 12-team playoff, we'll just real quick. You take the 4 major conference winners.
Power 5.
Yeah, but they only have 4. So you have
Yeah.
so one seed is Georgia, 2 is Michigan, 3 is Clemson, and 4 is Utah. They all get a bye. Okay?
Yeah.
You have number 8 Tennessee, number 9 K-State. The winner of that would go on and play Georgia. TCU and Tulane. Tulane is in this playoff now.
Yeah, they should be because well, yeah. I just like the what was it, UCF argument from a couple years ago about a school that went undefeated 3 years in a row without a loss and was just barely moving up the rankings every year, even though they won like 30 games in a row or something like that.
How do we feel? And this is a question just from me. The recent news about Jackson Smith the Jigbug just declaring for the draft, and that's it. Recently, it was Kentucky's quarterback, Will Levis, who said he's skipping on Kentucky's bowl game and is going to the draft. How do we feel about that?
Okay, so here's my thing. Jackson Smith and Jigba also came out and said that he isn't completely recovered from his injury. So he is still hurt. And they said that his recovery time, he would not be recovered in time to play in the college football playoff game. I'm fine with him, I'm fine with them declaring early and leaving and going. Now, if he was healthy and he was skipping the college football playoff game, it would be a different story for me. Now, the guy from Kentucky, he's not playing in a college football playoff game. He wants to go focus on the NFL. Fucking let him go. If your team still has a chance of making it to win the national championship game, you should be there to help them win it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
So the only reason why I bring it up is because I hate that. Like, injured or not, like,
I mean, he will still be there, but he just won't be dressed and ready to go.
Like, I don't know.
That's just a bad look then.
Yeah.
I got a real mixed bag about it. Like, is Jackson Smith and Jigba the next Justin Jefferson? Not even close. I think he'll be an average receiver in the NFL.
Is he the next Deontay Johnson?
Probably a little better than Deontay.
I think because I do agree with James. I think he's probably going to be a little better than Deontay Johnson. He's not the next Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, who are just kind of, they were destroying the NFL until Christian Watson decided that him and the Green Bay Packers wanted to play football. And then now Christian Watson is the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL. I think it's I wouldn't want to be one of those guys. I mean, I would love to be one of those guys to make that decision and then get a couple $1 million signing bonus just to suck at football. But I think I mean, it's got to be a tough decision to make. Do you worry about your friends and your current family, or do you worry about your career? And I feel like that's a decision we all have to make at some point because truthfully, that's what he's doing. Is he worrying about his current friends and family, or is he worrying about his career? And I think he's obviously, due to his decision to sit out the playoffs, he's worried about his career. Now, I'm a firm believer, and I wish these players could make the decision that they can sit out the first round, but if they make it to the national championship, they should be given that option again. But it obviously doesn't work like that. God forbid Jackson Smith and Jigba plays against Georgia and he tears his ACL again. Well, now you screwed yourself to go to the NFL. Now that
couldn't you still sit out if you're technically hurt for the playoff game and then just leave it up in the air before declaring for the draft? Like, why does it hurt? Why does it not hurt you to just wait one more month before declaring to see if there's a possibility? Because to me, that just sounds like there's either one, no way that he's going to recover and his injury's that severe, which why would you declare for the draft anyway to go to the NFL if you're that injured? Or, well, I mean, I guess there's a lot more recovery time, but still. Or that he just doesn't want to play and he's not even considering the possibility.
I think that he's declaring so early beforehand to get his name out there so that the NFL scouts will be able to, they won't be able to watch him anymore, but they can go back and look at the tape and they get more recognition with him than say waiting until after the national championship game.
He's an Ohio State wide receiver. I mean, people are going to watch him.
Oh, I understand that, but I'm just saying he's putting his name out there before potentially some of the other good wide receivers that might be coming out of this draft class.
I think for me, declaring and then saying you're not playing in the playoff game is saying, to me, it's like what if I would have played, how good my team would have been? Like, could you imagine how good my team would have been if I would have played? That's the vibe I get when you declare and you don't want to play in a playoff game if you were injured for several games. The vibe that I get is like, how do you think my team would have done if I would have played? And to be honest, I don't know if Jackson Smith and Jigba would have made a huge difference. I will say, and I said this last season when they had Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, that I thought Jackson Smith and Jigba was the best receiver at Ohio State.
I don't think having another great or another good wide receiver is going to help them when their defense is the problem. Their secondary can't.
I don't know if it's just the defense though. C.J. Stroud last season was taking risks. He was that aggressive quarterback. In this season, he's in the first few games he looked like C.J. Stroud. But then every week he got progressively, in my opinion, more scared to throw the ball. He didn't want to thread that needle. He really looked like Cardale Jones, who just towards the end of his time at Ohio State really got scared to throw the ball because he wanted to be in the NFL. He wanted that stupid high completion rating. He wanted those long touchdowns. He wanted that wow factor that Justin Fields didn't give a fuck about. Justin Fields would sling the motherfucker in there, and that's why people were like, he's an NFL quarterback because he took the risks. Did he get picked off a decent amount? I would argue maybe. He didn't get picked. He wasn't the highest person that was throwing interceptions, but Justin Fields took the risks. And C.J. Stroud is backed way off like Cardale Jones did towards the end of his career because he wants that high completion percentage. He wants the wow factor. He wants the deep plays. He doesn't want a 4-yard check down, run out of bounds play. He wants a 25-yard down the field to Jackson Smith and Jigba or to Garrett Wilson so that he looks incredible. And he wants to be a high draft pick. He doesn't care about dropping in the draft. Justin Fields didn't give a fuck where he was drafted. That's why he's doing pretty good with Chicago right now. It took him a little while, but he's doing good because he's taken that time. He made the aggressive throws. He took his chances, and now he's an NFL quarterback. That's why
I would argue that Justin Fields is going to be the most successful quarterback to date
literally
that's
what I
ever
was
come out
just
of
going to come
Ohio
out of my
State.
mouth right
I
there.
agree.
All
100%.
historically, Ohio State quarterbacks suck in the NFL. I
That was
mean,
literally what was just going to come
Troy
out of my
Smith
mouth.
won the Heisman Trophy and was a half starter and then was a backup for a long time. Like Braxton Miller was a wide receiver.
Fields, he took those risks and he didn't back off. You look at every quarterback.
So
every quarterback was so aggressive. Even Kirk Herbstreit was so aggressive. And then when they're ready to declare for the draft, or they're getting ready to declare for the draft, they want to back it off. They want to be safe. They want that completion percentage to be high. They want those deep throws. Again, that wow factor. Justin Fields didn't give a fuck. Justin Fields was throwing 80-yard bombs and 3-yard checkdowns every time he was playing. He didn't give a shit. Justin Fields is going to be, and just like you said, James, he is going to be the best quarterback that's come out of Ohio State. Is he going to win playoff games with Chicago? Not unless they decide to just fuck the team, take Chase Claypool, who I will argue is going to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL in 5 years. You mark my words. Chase Claypool is going to be an incredible wide receiver with Justin Fields built around those two guys.
How many years do you say?
5 years. Chase Claypool is going to be.
All right, James. On December 8th, 2027, we get to text Mark and tell him that he's fucking wrong.
Nope, I'm going to be right. You watch.
No.
Okay, so
Dude, he's a wide receiver that's taken significant strides back in talent, or not in talent, but in performance and in like care for the game every single year.
Yep, he's garbage.
So
I don't see him turning his attitude around.
The reason why I brought this up, and I'm glad Mark said what he said. So if I'm an NFL scout and I see, a player that declares for the draft and, is looking for, looking to pad the stats, or a guy like, just declares for the draft, doesn't play the bowl game, whatever. I look at that as, this guy isn't a team player. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want to go with him. That's what I look at guys that are going to be, good team players, because you need team players to be successful in any league. I don't care what league it is. You need those role players, the guys like Justin Fields, who doesn't give a crap about what his stats look like. He wants to go out there and just win and be successful. And if his stats are great, awesome. But if he's winning games, that's what they care about. So that's kind of, and again, I'm glad Mark kind of brought it to that point to kind of wrap a nice little pretty Christmas bow on it. That's kind of where I was going, because the first time that I really was like irritated about it was when Nick Bosa declared for the draft, with however many years
after
ago
Joey
that
did.
was. Yeah, and that back
didn't
then.
But didn't they both declare 2 years like after their sophomore season?
I don't remember. I just remember being so irritated that they did that. Like,
all right, give me your predictions for the college football playoff games real quick. We'll wrap it up with this. Ohio State, Georgia by 10.
No, it's either going to be, if it's close, it's Ohio State that upsets. If it's not close, it's a fucking embarrassment, spanking, take me to Pound Town. Georgia wins by 25.
J-Dog?
Yeah, I really don't know what to predict for this game. I mean, Ohio State, to me, in this situation, can do literally anything. They can be an incredible team that looks like they should clearly be champions, or they can come out and just shit the bed. So I don't know who to pick. I mean, I'd probably pick Georgia just by logic, but
yeah. TCU, Michigan. Here's my answer right there. Go TCU.
I'm going Michigan.
I mean, Michigan's probably going to win, but fuck them, TCU.
I think
our rooting interests are different than who we think are going to win.
Yeah, I do think. I mean, I don't know. TCU is tough. I don't know.
I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a lot closer. I think it'll be a lot closer. Yeah, I think it'll be a lot closer than Ohio State and Georgia will.
Man, just to see how Michigan steamrolled Ohio State, like I find it hard to believe that any team's going to stop them except just a power team.
Now here's the thing: if Ohio State pulls it off and upsets Georgia, and Michigan beats TCU, it's going.
Ohio State don't lose back-to-back.
What'd you say?
Ohio State.
That would be.
No, I know. No, I'm just saying, if it happens,
that would be
imagine
incredible.
the TV ratings
Ohio
of
State would beat Michigan if that happens.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. You were like cutting out. But no, if that does happen, the TV ratings will get broken. It will be the highest rated college football playoff of all time. Mark my words.
It'll probably be the highest rated college game or watched football game.
The only thing is, if that happens, it might ruin the prestige of the game every single season, Michigan, Ohio State, because this one they're playing for the national championship.
No, because the next year it'd be about revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was good.
Yeah, because the other ones spoiled the national title hopes. If it's Michigan that wins, if that happens, if it's Michigan that wins, then Ohio State's going to be like, we've lost 3 in a row. Like,
and we need
Ryan Day's job is gone if he loses this game.
Yep.
And vice versa, it's Ohio State ruined Michigan's undefeated hopes, even though it lost to them, or even to beat them earlier in the season. Yeah. There's a narrative this is going to do nothing but increase the value of the game, the normal.
Yeah. Either way, it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. Jason, I almost said James. Jason, where can they find us real quick? And then I'll hit a sign off.
You can find us on our social medias. We've got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And
TikTok. Forgot about that.
I worked hard on that today.
Okay. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And you can watch us on YouTube. And when you go to YouTube, hit the like button because it helps a lot. Hit subscribe because I know there are some people that watch and don't subscribe. So consider subscribing because it's free and it helps us out a lot. Thank you. And the notification bell so you never miss a new upload.
Hunting.
God, that was terrible.
There you go.
All
That
right.
face is awesome.
We will.
All right, everybody.
Guys.
Happy New Year. Happy college football playoff. And we'll see you guys next week for the preview of the national championship.
Yep. Have a safe and happy New Year, everybody.
Yep.
Bye.